Ludlow. But if you were walking around Ludlow in the middle of the week on an evening, you'd find it was totally ghost town. Nothing happened. And a friend and I got together and we started a folk club in the Globe in Market Street on the 6th of February 1969. And within a couple of 3 weeks we were having people, 80, 90 people coming to that. Just lit up. It was amazing, very, very successful. Right, we're going to take you all over the place tonight. We're going to go to the Yukon, we're going to go down to Sussex, but we're going to start off, this is Shropshire, isn't it?
Just about.
Right, well we're going to start off with the Shropshire version of Mow My Meadow. Everyone knows that terrible thing you used to sing in the back of buses on school trips and things. One man went to mow, terrible. This has got a bit of guts to it. And what we do is we're going to go up into fours. So we'll start off, give me 1 man, 2 men, 3 men, 4 men, and then 4, 3, 2, 1. Then we start 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 9, 10. You have to help me out a little bit because I'm not very good on the numeracy side. Okay, so it goes like this. Give me 1 man and 2 men to mow my meadow, 3 men, 4 men to carry it away. Give me 4 men, 3 men, 2 men, 1 man, and there ain't no more to mow my hay and carry it away on a beautiful midsummer's morn. 5. Well, you've got the idea now? Give me 5 men and 6 men to mow my meadow, 7 men, 8 men to carry it away. 8 men, 7 men, 6 men, 5 men, 4 men, 3 men, 2 men, 1 man, and there ain't no more to mow my hay and carry it away on a beautiful midsummer's morn. Give me 9 men and 10 men to mow my meadow, 11 men, 12 men to carry it away. 12 men, 11 men, 10 men, 9 men, 8 men, 7 men, 6 men, 5 men, 4 men, 3 men, 2 men, 1 man, and there ain't no more to mow my hay and carry it away on a beautiful midsummer's morn. Give me 13 men and 14 men to mow my meadow, 15 men, 16 men to carry it away. Take a breath every time. 60, 50, 40, 30, 12 men, 11 men, 10 men, 9 men, 8 men, 7 men, 6 men, 5 men, 4 men, 3 men, 2 men, 1 man, and there ain't no more to mow my hay and carry it away on a beautiful midsummer morn. Where are we up to now? 15. We're 16 now, aren't we? Give me 16 men, 17 men to mow my meadow, 18 men, 19 men, no, 20 men, carry it away. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10 men, 9 men, 8 men, 7 men, 6 men, 5 men, 4 men, 3 men, 2 men, 1 man, and there ain't no more to mow my hay and carry it away on a beautiful midsummer morn. Give me 30 men and 40 men to mow my meadow, 50 men, 60 men to carry it away. 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12 men, 11 men, 10 men, 9 men, 8 men, 7 men, 6 men, 5 men, 4 men, 3 men, 2 men, 1 man, and there ain't no more to mow my hay and carry it away on a beautiful midsummer morn. Give me 70 men, 80 men to mow my meadow, 90 men, this is the last time, 100 men to carry it away. 190, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 men, 1 man, and there ain't no more to mow my hay and carry it away on a beautiful midsummer morn. That's the Shropshire version. The version of One Man to Mow at the end of it. I'm going to take you to the Yukon now. You know where that is, don't you? Yeah, up there. It's cold. Up there, cold. Does anybody know what a poke of dust is? A poke of dust. No? Oh. Well, the gold miners, they used to have a tube made of animal skin, and that was their poke, and the dust was the gold dust, which went in it. And they carried that around with them. That was their sort of bank, if you like. This is a story which was, I suppose, in 1898, when the big gold rush started in the Klondike. Thousands of people rushed in looking to hopefully make their fortune. And this is a story about one particular incident. You can imagine yourself in a dance hall, everyone is drinking, the piano's going, there's boozing, and everything's going on. Very noisy, and outside, 50 below zero. 50 below. And into all this noise and turmoil, a man comes through the door. And this is a story about what happens, if I can remember. A bunch of the boys were whooping it up in the Malamute saloon. The kid that handles the music box was playing a ragtime tune. Back of the bar in a solo game sat Dangerous Dan McGrew, and watching his light was his light of love, the lady that's known as Lou. When out of the night it was 50 below, and into the din and the glare, there stumbled a miner fresh from the creeks, dog dirty and loaded for bear. He looked like a man with a foot in the grave, and scarcely the strength of a louse. Yet he tilted a poke of dust on the bar, and he called for drinks for the house. Well, we drank his health, and the last to drink was Dangerous Dan McGrew. Now, there are men that somehow just hold your high eyes and grip them hard in the spell, and such was he. He looked to me like a man who had lived in hell, with a face most hair, and the dreary stare of a dog whose day is done, as he watered the green stuff in his glass, and the drops fell one by one. And I got to figuring who he was, and wondering what he'd do. And I turned my head, and there watching him was the lady that's known as Lou. All right? His eyes went rubbering round the room, and he seemed in a kind of a daze, till at last that old piano fell in the way of his wandering gaze. The ragtime kid was having a drink. There was no one else on the stool, so the stranger stumbled across the room and flopped down there like a fool. In a buckskin shirt that was glazed with dirt, he sat, and I saw him sway. Then he clutched the keys with his talon hands. My God, what that man could play. Were you ever out in the great alone when the moon was awful clear, and the icy mountains hemmed you in with a silence you most could hear, with only the cry of a timber wolf, and you camped there in the cold, a half-dead thing in a stark dead world, clean mad for the muck called gold. While high overhead, green, yellow and red, the north lights swept in bars. Then you hunted what the music meant, hunger and night and the stars. And hunger, not of the belly kind that's banished with bacon and beans, but the gnawing hunger of lonely men for a home and all that it means. For a fireside, far from the cares that are four walls and the roof above, but oh so crammed for a cozy joy, and crowned with a woman's love. A woman dearer than all the earth, and true as heaven is true. God, how ghastly she looked through her rouge, the lady that's known as Lou. The music, then all of a sudden the music changed, so soft that you scarce could hear, and you felt that your life had been looted clean of all that it once held dear, that someone had stolen the woman you loved, that her love was a devil's lie, that your guts were gone, and the best for you was to crawl away and die. It was the crowning cry of a heart's despair, and it thrilled you through and through. I guess I'll make it a spread misere, said Dangerous Dan McGrew. The music almost died away. Then it burst in a pent-up flood, and it seemed to say, repay, repay, and my eyes were blind with blood. The thought came back of an ancient wrong, and it stung like a frozen lash, and the lust awoke to kill, and music stopped with a crash. I ducked my head, the lights went out, 2 guns blazed in the dark. A woman screamed, the lights came up, 2 men, they stiff and stark, pitched on his head and pumped full of lead, lay dangerous down the groove, while the man from the creeks lay clutched to the breast of the lady that's known as Lou. These are the simple facts of the case, and I guess I ought to know. Some say the stranger was crazed with hooch. I'm not denying it so. I'm not so wise as them lawyer guys, but strictly between us two. The woman that kissed him and pinched his poke was the lady that's known as Lou. By a man called Robert W. Service. He wrote volumes of poems about the gold rush, and he made an absolute fortune. Right, we're going to do a funny song now. I sort of knocked it together. I was remembering when I was a little lad, when I went to my father's small holding, if you wanted to go to the lavatory at night or in daytime, doesn't matter when, you had to go up a path of, what was it made from? Remember that privet, I think, or something. And the privy used to be down the garden, usually by a yew tree. And the pigs' cot used to be behind it. And you went into the door. Can anybody remember doing this? And there was a row of holes in the big seat. And if you were very small, they had a small hole. If you had a big bum, then you stuck this in. It was an earth closet, if you like. I can remember sitting there with the ivy tapping at the door and hearing the pigs in the back. I thought, that sounds like a bit like a song to me. So I wrote this song about pigs called The Pigweed Jig, and the chorus is, listen very carefully to the chorus goes, grunt, grunt, snuffle, snuffle, grunt, snuffle, grunt. It's a gloriously evocative sound. The chomp, slurp, smack of slobbering chops as the swill in the troughs sucked down. Okay? That's the chorus. It goes like this. Grunt, grunt, snuffle, snuffle, grunt. Grunt, grunt, snuffle, snuffle, grunt, snuffle, grunt. It's a gloriously evocative sound. The chomp, slurp, smack of slobbering chops as the swill in the troughs sucked down. Okay? Again, that's about 50 verses, so you're now, a yukin. Do you know what a yukin is? It's sort of a heritage term for a small boy. Okay? And you know what troughs are and things, and swill, you know what? Right. Now, when I was a bit of a yukin, not about 3 years old, I slipped my mother's care one day to become an explorer bold. The way to the pig cot I knew well. I followed the swill pail down, and it wasn't very long before I whiffed upon and heard the old familiar sound. Grunt, grunt, snuffle, snuffle, grunt, snuffle, grunt, it's a gloriously evocative sound. The chomp, slurp, smack of slobbering chops as a swill in the pail sucked down. Have you ever sloshed through pig muck, mate? Have you ever had it round your feet? To me it's no surprise when it's there before my eyes to think it's good enough to eat. You can use it for 1,001 good things. It makes the old superlatives flow. And a bucket or two of good piggy poo to not make the rhubarb grow. Grunt, grunt, snuffle, snuffle, grunt, snuffle, grunt. It's a gloriously evocative sound. The chomp, chomp, smack of slobbering chops as a swill in the trail stuck down. Oh, down between the privet hedges I would go to ease my abdominal pain. In broad daylight or silent night, be it wind or hail or rain, there I would sit on the earth closet seat with the ivy tapping at the door, and behind me through the wall, sleeping in the straw, came the pig's contented snores. Grunt, grunt, snuffle, snuffle, grunt, snuffle, grunt, it's a gloriously evocative sound. The chomp, slurp, smack of slobbering chops as a swill in the pail stuck down. With pigs you're never lonely, with pigs you're never sad. They'll brighten up the day when things go wrong and make us have his heart feel glad. So, if you want someone to talk with or discuss some business deal, then trot off down to the Peacock Mate and listen to the grunts and squeals. Oh, grunt, grunt, snuffle, grunt, snuffle, grunt, into the sound. The chops are packed up, slobbering chops. As the swing in the tail sucked down once more slowly. Grunt, grunt, snuffle, snuffle, grunt, snuffle, grunt, getting over the evocative sound. The chops are smacked on slobbering chops as the swill in the tail sucked down. Diggy, thank you. Am I all right for time?
We've got another couple of minutes.
This is from Sussex. A man wrote it, a man called Kipling, not the man that makes the cake, but Rudyard, who wrote things like the Jungle Book. And it's a story about a piece of land which was owned by the Romans, then the Danes, then the Normans, and eventually came out as a bit of Latin, belonged to actually to a person. So it's a story of this piece of ground, and it starts off. When Julius Fabricius, sub-prefect of the Wheel, in the days of Diocletian, owned our lower river field, he called to him Obdanius, a Briton of the clay, saying, "What about that river bit for laying into hay?" And the ancient Hobden answered, "I remember as a lad my father told your father she wanted draining bad, and the more that you neglect her, the less you'll get her clean. Have it just as you've a mind to, but if I was you, I'd dream." So he drained it long and crosswise in the lavish Roman style. Still we find among the river drift their flakes of ancient tile, and in droughty middle August, when the bones of meadows show, you can trace the lines they followed 1600 years ago. Then Julius Fabricius died, as even prefects do, and after certain centuries, imperial Rome died too. Then did robbers enter Britain from across the northern main, and our lower river field was won by Ogier, the Dane. Well could Ogier work his warboat, well could Ogier wield his brand, much he knew of foaming waters, not so much of farming land. So he called to him a Hobden of the old altar blood, saying, "What about that river bit? She doesn't look no good." And the aged Hobden answered, "'Tain't for me to interfere, but I've known that bit of men now for 55 years. But just as you've a mind to, but if I was you, it needs lines, sorry, I got wrong. I've said it time on time, if you want to change her nature, you've got to give her line." So, Ogier sent his wains to Lewis, 20 hours solemn walk, and drew back great abundance of the cool grey healing chalk, and old Hobden spread it broadcast, never heeding what was in it, which is why in cleaning ditches, now and then we find a flint. Ogier died, his sons grew English, Anglo-Saxon was their name, till out of blossomed Normandy, another pirate came. For Duke William conquered England and divided with his men, and our lower river field he gave to William of Oren. But the brook, you know where habit rose one rainy autumn night, and tore down sodden frisses of the banks to left and right. So said William to his babe as they rode their dripping rounds, "Oh, what about that river bit? The brook's got up no bounds." And the aged Hobden answered, "'Tain't my business to advise, but you should have known what happened from the way the valley lies. Where you can't hold back with water, you must try and save the soil. Have it just as you've a mind to, but if I was you, I'd spile." So they spiled along the watercourse with trunks of willow trees, planks of elms behind them, and immortal oaken knees. And when the spades of autumn whirled the gravel beds away, you could see their faithful fragments, iron hard in iron clay. George Pinto Ammon Sexter, I, who own the river field, am fortified with title deeds, attested, signed, and sealed, guaranteeing me my assigns, my executors and heirs, all sorts of powers and profits, which are neither mine nor theirs. I have rights of chase and warren that my dignity requires. I can fish, but Hobden tickles. I can shoot, Hobden wires. I repair, but he reopens certain gaps which men allege have been used by every Hobden since Hobden swapped the hedge. his morning progress or the tractor train due, demand his dinner basket into which my pheasant flew, confiscated evening faggot under which my conies ran, and summons him to judgment. I would sooner summons can. His dead are in the churchyard, 30 generations laid. Their names were old in history when Doomsday Book was made, and the passion and the piety and prowess of his line were seeded, rooted, fruited in some land the law calls mine. Not for any beast that burrows, not for any bird that flies, would I lose his large, sound counsel, miss his keen and ending eyes. He is bailiff, woodman, wheelwright, field surveyor, engineer, and if flagrantly a poacher, then for me with his ear. Hob, what about that river bit? I turned to him again with Oger. Oger? He's a Dane, wasn't he? Who was a chapter for him? Julius, Fabricius, and Oger, and William Morboren. Have it just as you who mind to, but, and here, he takes command. For whoever pays the taxes, old Mus Hobden owns the land.